That's
Oh,
for
that's
next month.
That's one new. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to open the zoning board of appeals meeting. My name is Howard Traister. This is Eric Stein, a member, Elaine Baker, member, Sue Noyes, our administrator, and Larry Murphy from the planning board. Good evening. Eric, you want to read?
Sure.
Who's on the agenda? I don't have it. Or I misplaced it. One of the two. I know who is, but.
All right, William D. Francesco, Newbury, self-storage, 131 Newbury Turnpike, assessors map R36-0-23. The applicant is requesting a variance for relief from section 97-8 of Newbury zoning bylaws as the proposed sign exceeds the dimensions allowed by law.
Okay, come on up and tell us about why you're here.
Well, I'm here for exactly that. And first of all, Sue, do you want?
Yes. Your tear sheets and your abutter notifications.
On January 14th, Newburyport Signs approached me and said that they're generally slow in the winter, and could they start building a sign for me, and they put it in when the ground is when it's not frozen anymore. So I said yes, and I paid them for the sign. And then March came along and there was no sign. April, May, June, no sign. And I hired an attorney to sue them, and then they finally got the sign done and put it in. When he was putting it in, I said to him, did you get the permit? Because I live in the town of Newbury. And he said to me, no, I never get any permits for my signs in Newbury. So I came down here to fill out the application for the sign. And then I showed Sam the photo of the sign and everything. And he said to me, he said, that's a nice looking sign. And then after he looked up the statute, he found out it was too big. So I went and took some photos. And this is my sign, which matches, the front sign.
Right.
This is a sign right down the street on the corner of Hanover and Route 1. And I talked to Sam, I sat down with Sam, and there was no permit for that sign. This sign, the old place, there was a permit for that. There's no permit for that, for one of the boards on here. No permit for that. This bottom section was added, so there was no permit for that. There was no permit for this sign. These are just big older signs right down the street.
Yep.
And this one is older, and this middle section, I don't believe there was a permit for that sign. And these are just two other bigger signs in town.
Right. Okay, so, Eric, I think Elaine agreed when she was reading things. I was wondering why he's applying for a variance and not a special permit for the size of the sign.
Yes.
And I did ask Bill, before the meeting started, and he said Sam led him in that direction. Okay, so just while Eric's thinking about whatever he's thinking about, because other people didn't get permits,
I understand that.
doesn't mean, I understand what you're showing us, that there's other signs, there's other large signs, all that. But just because somebody else didn't do it doesn't mean you get to not do it.
I understand.
I know you're trying to do the right
And I
thing.
just wanted to point out the sizes of the
Yep.
signs, more or less.
Right.
Bill, do you have your requirements?
And the other thing I wanted the application is, he's got, that he's in the industrial zone, but I believe he's in the commercial A zone. Commercial business A zone.
Mhm.
Well, it says right. What is that?
Under the labels.
Commercial.
WHS.
Okay, that's WHS.
I have no idea.
Right, he's right near Sled Road, or just past Sled Road.
Yeah, my property is Boston Road on the south and Sled Road on the north.
Right, so he's between here.
Right.
So that's commercial
Highway.
highway A, correct? Okay, so I'm just, I don't think the application is right before we get to deciding anything. Yeah, no.
Wireless communication overlay district. Business light industrial is that zone right there, Sled Road
Okay,
to Boston.
so, all right, then I'm mistaken, then why does it say commercial?
Well,
highway?
it's business light industrial, commercial highway zone is over here.
No, the dark,
That's got a stripe in it. That stripe is right
oh, okay,
here,
What?
I believe.
okay.
And that is just purple, which is business light industrial.
Okay. All right, I gotta read a look at something.
So,
I am going to the eye doctors tomorrow, so.
That's probably a good thing.
It
sounds
is, yeah,
like.
definitely is. All right, so.
You guys need to do the math, or is that math?
No, I think, business.
I get out glasses.
It's pretty bad.
business light industrial, is that what we just
Yeah,
called that?
that's what we.
So-
Oh, a different color purple.
Oh,
Yeah.
your sign is 4 by 12, so that's 48.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 36, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
One ground sign for identification purposes, advertising to display area shall not exceed 36 square feet. One freestanding sign pertaining to the sale, lease, or use of a lot, 24 square feet. One wall sign for identification purposes, advertising display shall not exceed 1 square foot for every 2 linear feet of building. Opaque window signs, mixed use multi-tenant signs. One sign per tenant, or wall sign, freestanding sign pertaining to sale or lease. And section M is exemption
Right.
only by special permit.
That was the other thing that I forgot.
Appropriate subject to general requirements have in section 907E above, appropriate safeguards and conditions can grant a special permit for changes in 1 permit signs, 2 permit setbacks, does not increase or detract from the neighborhood, does not increase or constitute a threat to public safety, proposed sign complies with all other sections of this bylaw, maintenance, sign removal, non-conforming signs. Okay, so this reference, section 97-8E. I read it first or second time we did
So those are general requirements.
this. 25 feet in height or be higher than the main roof line, that's not, that's it. No sign shall project over the extended property line, that's on your property?
Yes.
No sign should be erected so as to obstruct the vision of vehicular traffic entering or exiting the premises.
I pushed it way back because I was afraid of snow.
All districts, in all districts, ground signs shall be set back a minimum of 10 feet from the traveled way or from a property line.
Or 15 to 20 feet. I gave Sam that dimension.
Agricultural purposes, in all districts, the placement, size, type of sign shall conform to section 97-8I business districts to the rules and regulations set forth in a guide to highway signing for agricultural purposes in Newbury. Okay, so under section E, there are 4 sections.
So then you go to the business and light district, which you did read, which says 36 feet.
Yep. So,
Would you like to speak about the project? Excuse me. Would you like to speak about the project, either in favor, questions, comments, opposition?
Well, I know it has to be like a 36 square foot, and the owner has just stated that it's 48 square feet.
Right.
So, I don't know if it's causing any kind of difficulty as far as like safety conditions are concerned. So, what's the difference between a variance and a special permit to change this over so he can move forward?
Okay, so we're reading in the bylaw that if he applies for a special permit, we can consider granting him relief.
we typically grant special permits or findings based on our bylaws. The
Okay.
variance, as written by the state, that governs the overall premise of a variance, there are 3 conditions for that deal with the land and that wouldn't necessarily even apply for a variance here. So a variance, why Ally brought that up to begin with, is how a variance is kind of a non-starter for this application. Would you
So,
agree?
if he goes for a special permit, is he required to remove the sign until the permit is granted?
No, not necessarily.
We can make,
We can make conditions, whatever we have leeway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Okay.
could you give Sue your name and address,
Oh,
please?
yeah, Leslie Matthews, 111 Main Street.
I can speak a little bit to the signage, because I worked for McDonald's in the late 80s, early 90s. And the size of the sign is directly related to the speed on the road. So the higher the speed, the larger the sign, which gives people decision-making time to slow down. Because if you had a really small sign, they slam on the brakes and they take a turn. So that's why you see bigger signs and smaller signs. That's why some of the older signs are really big.
Who's the special permit granting authority for this? Is it you?
We are.
Yep.
We are.
So do I need to rescind the application then?
Well, no, you don't. You can do that tonight, but
have a little more discussion and then
we're gonna have more discussion, but we need to, we need to make a determination what you're asking for.
Okay.
And then we can discuss what we think we might want to do, or not do. So I think probably you should change the application to start with.
Well,
We,
Okay, what?
no,
You want to close the meeting on discussion?
yeah, we'll close the meeting for a minute,
Yeah.
talk about it. There's no criteria that he has that would fit a variance.
Understood, and I totally agree, because the conditions of the ground, the conditions of the site just don't apply to the sign. And if you had, if it was all ledge, you'd be even stretching the idea of what a variance is all about.
Right. And in the bylaws, it does,
Under section M, exemptions by special permit only, upon application duly made to the zoning board of appeals, said board may, in appropriate cases and subject to the general requirements set out in section 97-8E above, and appropriate safeguards and conditions, grant a special permit for changes in 1, permit size.
are we in agreement that we should be asking for a special permit then, and not a
Yes.
variance?
Yes.
So why don't we reopen the meeting, change the application, and then go from there. So we're gonna open the meeting, and I know you heard what we had to say, so we're gonna adjust your application. Eric usually does that, to just change it from a variance to a special permit, so that we can consider what you're asking for. So it's on the front page, yeah, we did.
No,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, the plan was to finish this with landscaping all the way around it, which I obviously didn't do.
Good. That's good to know, but it's not really pertaining to relevant to what we're thinking about.
While you're doing that, you're going to read the letters that
Yeah,
we
please do.
received for the record. There is one dated August 2nd, addressed to the Zoning Board of Appeals. To whom it may concern, I own the property home directly across the street from the new sign at Newbury Self-Storage. It is my understanding that the new sign at Newbury Self-Storage is larger than the town ordinance. Considering the sign is of excellent quality and very appealing to the eye, I would like to express my support for the new sign just as it is. And this is from Gary Macheros. There is also a letter that was sent in to the Zoning Board of Appeals stating we urge the board to reject the variance request from Newbury Self-Storage to exceed Newbury's stated sign dimensions. It is in the best interest of the town to smartly manage any development there and not set any precedent. We pass the sign almost daily and do not have any trouble noticing this business. We do not see any hardship here. Please uphold the zoning bylaw. Richard M. Paula Piccolo of 92 Caldwell Farm Road. And then the last letter is from August 7th to the Newbury Zoning Board of Appeals. I recently received an abutters notice from Bill DeFrancisco at Newbury Self-Storage regarding the new sign on Route 1. I would like to let the board know that I think the sign is very tastefully done and much nicer than any other sign on Route 1. I have watched the construction over the past few years and Bill has been very diligent about how his project looks. If you have any questions or would like to discuss further, you feel free to call me. And this is from Jesse Warren, Vice President of TW Excavating.
Actually, this was in my mailbox, I thought it was mailed to you.
Okay. And a fourth from August 15th. Dear board members, we're in receipt of an abutters notice from Newbury Self-Storage regarding a new sign on Route 1. It is our understanding that the new sign is slightly larger than it should be. We have inspected the sign and find it very attractive and fits well with the first-class development Mr. DeFrancisco has built in the other nearby businesses. We have also taken the time to view all the other signage on Route 1 and find that most every sign is larger and in disrepair. As direct abutters, we would like to offer our full support of the new sign. And this is from Five Amigos LLC and the Catalino family at, I don't know what their business is, they own the abutters list though. They are at, no, it's listed as 98 Elm Street, I don't know what the business is.
They don't have a business, they own land.
Okay, just land,
Just
okay, it's the
land.
property owners.
Okay.
Okay, and those are the four items that we received.
Laura, do you have any comments about the intent of the bylaw, different than what we're talking about?
No.
Okay. Okay, so, my feeling is that the sign definitely is larger than what the bylaw says, but, I don't think it's more detrimental to the area where there are signs all over Route 1 in that area that are larger. I don't think it's any safety concern, the size of it. It seems to be well placed. I think, you know, we should consider granting them relief with a special permit. What do you think?
I agree.
Yeah, and say that if a motion was made, the motion in terms of the purpose, which is section A of 97-8 sign regulations, A purpose. There are five actually items. Preserve and enhance the appearance of the town of Newbury and protect our investment in buildings and open space. So it's about the appearance of the sign. Encourage sound signing practices for business identification, public information. It's a pretty straightforward sign, nothing confusing there. Prohibit excessive and confusing sign displays. It's a singular sign. Eliminate potential hazards to motorists and pedestrians created by distracting and inappropriate sign displays. Again, it's about as straightforward as you can get. and provide commercial signage which is used primarily for the identification and not as advertising. It is solely for the purposes of identification. So I would make a motion to grant a special permit under 97-8 M, exceptions only by special permit for Part 1 permitted size, with the understanding that the existing current sign at 48 square feet appears and does meet the purpose of the signage regulation, numbers 1 through 5.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Is,
That's great, it was not-
with Leslie and you here, is the signage part of site plan review?
I don't know,
I don't think it is.
but it would be quite independent of what you do anyway, so if, you know, if Sam were to decide that it needed to come up to us for site plan review, then we'd take it up. But I don't think it needs to hold up what you do here.
No, I'm saying, but in general course of business, if.
When site plan review is required, yeah, we'd be looking at signage, absolutely.
Right, and then so Sam would then be alerted about a particular sign.
Yeah.
But how is he alerted about other signs that people just go put up signs?
Well, I guess that's, you gotta police it a little bit, I guess, and it's hard to do, very hard to do.
Yeah.
As often as not, I think
So,
those,
all
we're
asking
aware of the
about-
process.
yeah,
Going
I think as
forward.
often as not, those things come up when
Because I
somebody
know that when we
complains.
did this, it wasn't on, we didn't show a sign on the site, on the plan.
Well, not so much that, but, what'll happen is we pass the motion. Sue, probably next week, will write the decision. Then it'll come back to us and we need to sign it. Review it, sign it. Then when it goes to the town clerk, there's a 21 or 20-day period where people can appeal
Okay.
our decision. If nobody appeals, then you can
Get your permit
get
application.
your permit application.
Okay.
Complete your process with the building inspector for the
Okay.
sign.
Well, you'll let me know. Okay.
Do you want to use, this is the application for record?
And you have to have a copy recorded still even for this.
Yeah.
At the,
At the
it's-
registry
Yeah.
of deeds. But Sue will tell you what you need to do. So you're not gonna get a permit next week.
okay, I know that I have to go down to the registry of deeds for Doug because of the order of conditions being released.
Okay.
So if it all works out, just make one trip.
Yeah.
Do you need to sign this, Howie? Do you need to
Yeah,
initial
probably
this?
need just to initial.
This change right here?
You got a certificate of compliance?
I'm getting it from Doug. He is, I want to build a couple more buildings, but you won't be able to see them from the road.
Can you just initial this area where we changed it from a variance to a special permit?
So we need to close out the old order of conditions before I can start. Again.
No, it's 7:10.
More storage buildings or?
Yeah, they have I put up 3, they filled up, I put up 5 more. We're at 90%, and I'm turning people away, and it's a lot of businesses from Newbury, Newburyport. Over half the people are from Newbury and Newburyport.
Really?
But the issue there is ledge, as you know. It's all over.
Right.
Well, thank you.
See the letter as well.
You're welcome. Good luck. Okay, do we have any other business?
Try to make it look as nice as possible.
No, business, so then,
No, I don't have any other business.
Okay, we
Gave
have
you what I
motion,
received so far for the next meeting.
we have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.